Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and thank you to the witnesses for being here this morning. For the last 8 decades, the Davis-Bacon Act has provided millions of hardworking Americans fair wages for their hard work. During all of these years, the Davis-Bacon Act has done exactly what it was intended to do, to prevent federal projects from driving down local wage rates. And I actually just want to parenthetically add that just a few days ago, the Amtrak bridge in Niantic, Connecticut, the largest stimulus project Amtrak undertook, over $100 million, is now allowing trains to move at high speeds through that coastal stretch between Washington and Boston. Before that bridge was repaired through the Stimulus Act, trains actually had to slow their speeds down to 40 miles per hour because it was a 100-year-old bridge. It was also a bridge which impeded boat traffic coming into the Niantic River from the Long Island Sound, damaging the maritime economy. This is a stimulus project which, for the record, and there are frankly many, many more, which I know some of the members could attest to, actually did work in terms of upgrading long overdue infrastructure needs, employing over a 3-year period almost 400 construction workers, all within the aegis of the Davis-Bacon. By the way, it was a non-union project. So Davis-Bacon was there to make sure that those workers who, again, were getting a federally funded job, were getting adequate wages and benefits, which is exactly what the law was intended to do when it was passed many decades ago. At its core, the Davis-Bacon Act enables local contractors to compete for local projects without being underbid and undercut by contractors who import workforces from outside the local community. The Davis-Bacon Act is about local jobs and fair wages, and that's why the Davis-Bacon Act continues to enjoy strong bipartisan support. Look at the chart to my right. It shows that time and time again in the last couple of years, efforts to repeal the Davis-Bacon Act have met with crushing defeat. That is why it is surprising that we're even having this hearing today rather than focusing on the many serious economic challenges that workers are facing today. And again, almost every one of those votes has occurred with the Republican majority in the House. Again, a bipartisan, strong majority has rejected efforts to weaken and repeal the Davis-Bacon Act time and time again, even just over the last couple of years. Millions of workers receive wages today that are just flat out insufficient to support a family. The minimum wage has been frozen at $7.25 per hour for 4 years. Low-wage workers and families are falling further behind. You would think that there would be bipartisan interest in rewarding hard work. Wage disparity, low wages for hardworking Americans is a real problem with far-reaching consequences for our economy. However, the committee's majority refuses to take up H.R. 1010, the Fair Minimum Wage Act of 2013, which allows workers to earn a fair wage and contribute more to the economy. In addition, women continue to fight for wage equality, making only 77 cents for every dollar paid to men for the same work. That's a real problem that we should be trying to solve together. Wage disparity is demeaning to women and needs urgent attention by this committee. We have pressed for passage of H.R. 377, the Paycheck Fairness Act, but this subcommittee refuses to take it up or even give the issue a respectful public hearing. Also today, 4 in 10 workers don't have access to any paid leave on their job. Democrats have introduced H.R. 1286, the Healthy Families Act, which would provide a minimum number of sick days for workers to recover and seek medical attention for illnesses. That's a real and urgent problem for millions of families every day, but this committee apparently is not interested. Finally, as we all know, millions of Americans are out of work, and too many have been unemployed for long stretches of time. That's a real problem that we should be tackling together with key investments in our nation's infrastructure, education, and job training. Instead, billions of dollars in education and training cuts supported by the majority threaten to move us backwards in our efforts to stay economically competitive and expand economic opportunities. On the issue before us today, Davis-Bacon wages, my colleagues on the other side of the aisle propose to shift responsibility for collecting Davis-Bacon wage data from the Department of Labor's Wage and Hours Division to the Bureau of Labor Statistics. That would represent a step backward for the program, as the data collected by these two divisions is completely different. I look forward to the witness's testimony today, which I think will underscore that fact. For example, BLS doesn't collect fringe benefits as part of its wage survey, which is required to set Davis-Bacon rates. It doesn't collect wage data by county, but instead by larger metropolitan areas, undermining the concept of local wage rates. BLS focuses on work for certain, quote, establishments, unquote, which may or may not be headquartered in the county where the work is actually being performed. Wage and hour wages are based on work performed at projects in the local area. BLS has one category of wages for the entire construction industry, while the Wage and Hour Survey recognizes the different skill craft of various workers in the industry. This proposal is simply a strategy to scramble and disrupt Davis-Bacon wages and protections, not a sensible or serious reform. I hope today that we will have the opportunity to talk to the Commissioner and other witnesses about real problems facing today's workforce and to acknowledge that Davis-Bacon is actually helping our nation and workforce to remain strong. With that, I yield back, Mr. Chairman.